I was about to say, brother, this is a ridiculous interface. It's still very ridiculous, but I think we figured it out. It's still nonsensical. I don't even know if it's working right now. Allegedly, I'm streaming. It looks like I am. Am I still in 480p? Is the question. Also, am I? Wow, this is 2 times speed activities going on. Okay. It says 720. The chat's still not populating in the damn OBS for some reason. I don't. I don't know, dog. It's my phone telling me that I'm going live. Why does the chat not populate in here anymore? I gotta figure that out. I don't know. If only I knew how to do it. Well, I could have probably made this private and just watched it myself. Probably just watched it myself. Everybody probably watching the game right now. Ooh. I should be watching the game right now, but the cable's in the other room. And I don't feel like streaming any of that game. About to go. Give me some cheesecake out here, dog. You know what I'm saying? Little cheesecake, little graham crackers action. You know what I'm saying? Alright, everything looks okay. It's still in 480p? Come on, baby. They say 720p on here. At least there ain't no black bars around my face from what I can tell. Let's see. It's full screen. It just look a little crazy. I gotta go 60 frames a second. It'll probably look better if I do that. Should have made this private. I'm gonna be here for like 5 minutes. If anybody got a question, you know what I'm saying, I might try to answer it. Oh, we got the chair finally. You know what I'm saying? Support that neck and that back while we're out here living that cook life. Why do I still have that playing? Okay, there we go. Appreciate you being here to let me know everything is working how it's supposed to. You know what I'm saying? I could make it 1080p. Ooh, I could make it 1080p, but you know, I don't want to fly too close to the sun. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this too. Hold on, let me see. Because like I said, this computer is super duper old. So let me see if plugging these headphones in will stop this from sounding like I'm about to go to the moon on a NASA rocket. You feel me? It probably won't. Might have messed up the sound entirely. Let's see. Oh, I need to be able to hear it. A little bit of a delay. We're gonna find out in a second. Every time I look out of the frame, the camera blurs up. That did nothing. Alright. That's all I wanted to see. Oh. Dun-dun-dun. Everybody was talking about the iPod earlier and how it got discontinued. I just want to reveal special stream secret to everybody that's in here, which is, it says 3 people that's in here, so y'all gonna know this secret right here. I still don't have a music service. Well, I have them, but I don't use them actively because like I don't like the way music sounds on phones generally, and I don't like sacrificing my battery and using Wi-Fi and stuff like that to listen to music when I'm other places. So This is what we listen to music to on, ladies and gentlemen. I don't remember what year I got this. I mean, I don't remember. I remember what year I got it, but this ain't the one I had originally. So I got one in like 2006, right? I got one in 2006, and I had it. It was a 30 gigabyte video iPod, and I've never actually used the video function on it. I've used it strictly for music. And what was I say? I had one. I bought one. Well, my mother bought me one, and like I had it for a minute. I know it's 2022, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like I can't do it, but you know I got a lot of old stuff. I used to be a I don't know if y'all some of y'all noticed. I used to be a rapper, a rapper, and so I'm saying I still got a lot of my old music on there and stuff like that. And I just listen to it, and I could like plug it into the treadmill downstairs when I'm working out. It's a lot of ways I can get Bluetooth speakers and all this other stuff, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's why I'm still sitting here on this 37-year-old MacBook coming to you live. But I was saying that I had one. I had a 30 gig. This is a 60 gig, so it's not the same one. I think we bought one for my dad for like his. I don't remember. It was years and years ago, and he never used it, so I just commandeered that. But the first one I had, I was sitting on the couch just listening to music. Had a cup of water on the floor. That thing just slid off the couch right to the cup of wine. And fam, this is when them joints was like $300, and like I didn't want my mother to like know that I had cooked this iPod. Well, I didn't. It didn't. She wasn't gonna do nothing if I. But I was just like, you know what I'm saying. I didn't want to have a conversation. So I had a little bit of money on me. I went up there and got me another one for like $250. Thinking back on it, it's the dumbest thing I ever did financially, which is great because I'm pretty old, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't made too many financial hiccups, but wish I could have that money back because we bought my dad one like not even 2 months later, bro. So like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's all I came on here to do, just to make sure everything was working correctly. We'll be streaming at some points when basketball games are not on, or we can simulcast some games if I actually get my room cleared out. I don't stream from my room because my bed is very large, and I have the space in which I have actual free space in my room is like I have a lot of dressers and stuff and a lot of shoes and a lot of clothes that just require containers. So there's a lot of like just stuff in my room that I can't really stream from. And like I said earlier, I'd rather watch a game live like on television than like stream it and like me trying to talk about it at the same time, because like I don't know how long the delay would be on stuff like that. But other than that, I'm about to put this stream to bed. Oh, that's how you do it. I can monetize streams now. That's about to be making $3 a month, baby. Let's go. My Patreon coming soon. You know what I'm saying? About $6 every 18 weeks or so. We're gonna make a living off that. You feel me? We're coming for thinking basketball and what's that dude name? B-ball breakdowns and all that other stuff. Even though we don't B-ball breakdowns. But you know what I'm saying? I'll see y'all later. Let me just make sure everything works. If it ends when I end it, then I'll know that I had everything set up properly. Who I got winning the finals before I leave? I don't know. If Middleton hadn't got hurt, I would have said the Bucks. But now that you leave Drew to his own devices, and you that brother is a wild card. He be throwing up some hilarious shots on the court. But you know you got to keep him in there for that defense and everything else he does. But as an offensive weapon or as like a reliable second option, he might not be what you exactly are looking for. So him and Middleton kind of got to take turns in that way. Because Middleton's not always reliable either, because he's more of a jump-based shooting type of player. And, like, if you're just that kind of player, most of the time you're going to have off nights whether you want to or not. So, like, a lot of the struggles that people see in the playoffs are from people that are kind of oriented towards that. Like, even though Dame had, like, a great series against the Nuggets, before those, like, every year before that, really, he had a lot of struggles in the playoffs. And people are like, oh, this guy stinks and stuff. It's like, nah, man, when you mostly a jump shooter and an off the dribble jump shooter at that, like you're just gonna have nights when you struggle, and that's just gonna be what it is. But luckily for them, they got Giannis to kind of just take in all the load of just like driving to the basket and stuff like that. So if they get Middleton back and he's relatively healthy, I still think they're the best team remaining. The Suns, I don't know what's going on with Chris Paul. He's a little old. Trade D'Lo to the Bulls for Levine. I mean, I can see the vision on that. I can see. I wouldn't be averse to it now that like, because people was trying to send D'Lo to the Bulls back when Boylan was there. I'm like, man, y'all are tripping, bro. Like, absolutely not. Like, I don't want to see. I used to call him White Byron. Like, bro, I'm not trying to see that man play for White Byron. But they got a lot of young talent. I think they're gonna fulfill the D'Lo Lonzo prophecy that I was trying to sell Magic Johnson on for the longest time, and he just wasn't listening to me. You know what I'm saying? I was calling, I was hitting his line. He like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't messing with that young buck. I'm like, all right, whatever, bro. They can play together because Lonzo is functionally a shooting guard in half court. But nobody wanted to listen to me when I told him, I'm like, this brother cannot play pick and roll. You know what I'm saying? He's a shooting guard. He might not think he's tall enough. And this is back when people didn't know that Lonzo was the clamp man of the century. Like, they was like, oh, the defensive fit's going to be weird and all this stuff. I'm like, man, just listen to me, bro. Functionally, D'Lo the 1, Lonzo the 2, they can interchange in transition and stuff like that and just go from there. But nobody wanted to listen to me. And he got traded like 3 days later. It was a sickening, not 3 days later, but he got traded like right before the draft. It was just a terrible situation. Luke about to knock the Suns out, man. We're seeing some weird activities with Chris Paul and Lowry, man. Like, I don't know, Lowry might be cooked, bro. Like, people forget. Like, let me Google this. I'm sure I'm correct. But I think Kyle Lowry is 37 years old. Like, I'm almost certain of that. Lowry Kyle. He's 36. He just turned 36. That brother is old and like hamstrings. He got cooked hamstrings and like, you know what I'm saying? He carrying that wagon around like. So like, you know, he might be cooked. I don't think Chris Paul is on that level of in the slow roaster right now, but they gotta kind of figure out, because I don't know if they can rely on him to just turn it on like he be doing. He did it in game 2, but like that's a tough ask, because you need Booker to step up. You need Ayton to step up, and as much as Booker does as a scorer and stuff like that, if you ever just like look at his metrics and things like that, and you can kind of see it watching the game. Like he's improved his defense and stuff like that, but he's still in this area where he's kind of like, if he's not scoring at the level he needs to be scoring at, can he really put his imprint on the game? I wouldn't even say impact the game, because he just impacts the game by being out there. But that's the thing I was talking about. It's also the thing I always talk about with playmaking and stuff like that. Like, he's a serviceable playmaker and stuff like that. But there's certain things you got to do within the margins if you're not scoring and you want to be like a superstar kind of guy. And like sometimes you can watch Devin Booker and you don't even notice he's on the court and he got 25 points. And that's definitely not a bad thing. But can he be the guy that like kind of imposes will on a game if Chris Paul's not out there or if he's not playing as well? And if he is, then I think they'll be fine if he can kind of do that. If not, then they might be in a little bit of trouble. I don't think the Mavericks are going to get him up out of here. I don't know. Because like they had some good games from a couple people that you might not expect. Like Bertans had it going and stuff like that. So like it might just be a game-to-game thing in this series. I don't think overall they're going to win the series, but they might get caught. You never know, because Dallas plays good enough defense to kind of stay in games. Even though, you know, Luka had two of his games have been particularly rough outings. Even though he had a lot of points in game 1, he was like 10 for 25 at one point. Like, and that's the thing. We'll talk about playoff basketball as well. A lot of this stuff, like a lot of people play poorly, like a good majority of the time. The only thing is certain people get to like shoot themselves out of poor games. Like Tatum was playing, I won't say playing, he was shooting awfully yesterday, but like he just kept being able to shoot, and like at the end of the game he has a good game. Like, so like some of the situational struggles you see in the playoffs, like some people just need to get in a rhythm, like, and the whole narrative of the type of game they play will change. But everybody doesn't have that luxury. I'm sure you understand why I'm talking about this, but you know, those who know. But that was a long way to say I still think the Suns going to win, because I think they'll be able to step up. Because Ayton should be able to get whatever he wants if he actually like tries, and Booker, I think he'll be able to impact the game, and I don't think Chris Paul will play that's terrible. Well, terrible. I don't think he'll be as ineffective as he's been over the last couple games. Oh yeah, that was the Golden State. They might get him, but who do they have for Aiton? Like I don't know who's going to guard Biombo. Like not Biombo, but like they have a lot of big people that Golden State doesn't have. Looney. Let's talk about Looney for a second, bro. I got a bone to pick with that man, cause brother, when D'Lo was on that team, I thought that brother was about to retire. He had zero point 0.5 functional hips. That brother would play 12 minutes and just be missing for 6 weeks. And like we starving for anybody that can rebound and defend anybody of size. And this dude he just didn't, you know what I'm saying? This shout out to modern medicine because he was looking like he's about 42. And that's not like a joke about like his face or anything like that. Like his body, like physically, he had no lift or anything like that. And now this dude just the world beater of the century. So like basketball is funny, man. Shout out to him, but I don't know how good of a matchup that is for the Warriors. I think they can, I think they can win if it comes down to it because they have a lot of experience and things like that. But the Suns got a lot of wing talent that they can put on people. Like, is Poole going to get off in the same way if he has actual defensive attention? If he's not treated as the third cog in the wheel? Is Clay going to continue to look like this on offense? Because even though like he made a big shot yesterday, like he was still kind of bad offensively, and like does he get better as the series goes along? Because a lot of this is just probably fatigue and just not having his legs, and he's probably not going to get his legs because he didn't have really enough time to like get in actual basketball shape. He just had to get on the floor. So like I don't know. It's going to be fun for sure though, but I think they can find ways to shut down a couple of the things that the Warriors do. But Steph is going to be Steph regardless. So it'd be interesting to see. 5 viewers already. Yeah, we up to 7 now that I'm looking at, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know, like, what the streaming, like, ecosystem was, like, before I started, like, really getting into it, like, when COVID started. Because, like, I could have streamed a long time ago. I thought about it, but for, like, a while. Not a while, but like I was going to law school, and I accidentally kind of did the same thing I did here with the D'Lo video, where I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't planning on being like an NBA channel. I was going to start making like funny videos on here. I fancy myself a comedian. My old YouTube videos are more comedy based, but then when I got to law school, like a week or two before law school, I was just like, man, I don't feel like going. I'm just a little bit stressed out. And I'm like, let me see if I can record some gameplay and stuff like that. That's why I had the capture card and stuff like that. I'm like, I might be a streamer and start gaming, doing all this other stuff because like, I still haven't gotten back to it. But like, I was a huge like gamer like when I was young, like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, stuff like that. Me and my homie Duna, rest in peace to Duna. COVID got my man up out of here, bro. We'll talk about that at some point, but yeah, mask up, stay safe, get vaccinated if you can, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, like me and him used to, every time I would get a new game, just go to Duna House, you know what I'm saying. We had some battles on Madden or whatever it would be. So like when I got to college, I kind of stopped playing video games because I kind of wanted to get back into it, but I didn't have time to be like a streamer because I was in law school. So I was like, what can I do to just like have some fun and just like, you know what I'm saying, melt this stress away or whatever. So, and that's how this channel started with all the freestyle video game commentaries and stuff like that, which was wild because I'd never like actually freestyle before I did that. Like, so people are like, oh, this guy's a good rapper and he's just freestyling. He must be practicing this all the time. The only time I would play games or freestyle was when I would turn that camera on and just like post it to this channel. That was the only time I would do it. So like, but long story short, I would see people streaming and I'm like, oh, these people getting wild views. I ain't never gonna get this many people watching my streams at one time. Then I come to find out that most people average like one viewer per stream, if that. And I was like, oh, so if you get like 100 concurrent viewers, like you can make some money. I didn't know any of that stuff. I would have been streaming a long time ago. That has nothing to do with why I'm streaming now. I'm just streaming out just because. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know why I told that story, but yeah. Yeah, man, COVID is not a joke. I was trying to tell him, I'm like, bro, my guy, I'm like, I'm getting vaccinated. I can't, I had to get vaccinated because, like, my mother has cancer. Like, I can't be out here in these streets catching the germ and then giving it to my mother, bro. Like, kind of shit would that be? Ooh, did I just get demonetized? But yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, get vaccinated. I'm getting vaccinated as soon as I can. And I did. And I was telling my homie about it. I'm like, listen, bro, they saying COVID, this is how I broke down. I'm like, they saying COVID is worse than pneumonia. I'm like, have you ever had pneumonia? He's like, nah. And I'm like, listen, bro, I had pneumonia. You don't want that shit. So if you catch COVID, bro, like, that's a whole nother, like, level of this. Like, man, he wasn't rocking with what I was telling him. You know what I'm saying? He made it for a while. Then, you know, some stuff happened. And, you know, now my man's ain't here no more. You know, it's not a political statement or anything like that. I just think it's the safe thing to do. But my mother can't get vaccinated because she's allergic to it. So like a lot of the allergic reaction stuff that I get all that stuff. But if you can and if you're not allergic to the ingredients, bro, I say get it. I don't think there ain't no microchips and no vaccine, bro. They'd put that in your food if they can like. If they really wanted to get you, they could just like, hey FDA, bro, we just gonna start putting all this stuff in the bottled water, you know what I'm saying? Get this mind control popping, this tracking popping. Like, there's way more ways to do that than the vaccine. Should Steve Nash be fired? Because it's a weird dynamic they have there where like I think Steve Nash has more to offer as a basketball mind than he's currently offering. But the question is, do Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving want that kind of coach that's going to actually implement that kind of stuff? Because like, if you think about back when it was like, oh, he got hired as like, oh, this is the coach we wanted, like, you know what I'm saying? And that indicates to me a level of comfort with them knowing that he's not going to probably challenge them in the ways they need to be challenged, like another coach would. And I'm not saying they running from a challenge or anything like that, but I think they kind of had this dynamic where if he starts turning up his actual coaching, for lack of a better term, like getting on dudes for like not, you know what I'm saying, doing what they're supposed to do on certain plays, like that stuff with James Harden where he was just like, he let the ball roll all crazy across half court and stuff like that. And he would have had to sit down for a good while if he did that. Like if I was like the coach or something like that, just to like, cause you can't have stuff like that happen, or just have a talking to on the sideline, but like just a lot of laissez-faire stuff going on. So if Steve Nash gets into that bag, will Kevin Durant and Kyrie kind of buck against that? Or if he doesn't, is the guy you're going to bring in who might do more of that, is he going to be effective? You know what I mean? Because a lot of this stuff is just like, still, even though the coaching wasn't where it needed to be, a lot of this stuff is still like roster construction. Their defense is terrible, and they just don't have the horses. And Kyrie wasn't there for most of the season, so like you can't build any chemistry like that. I think Kyrie fooled a lot of people because when he came back, he played well. But I'm like, this dude is doing amazing for somebody that hasn't played actual basketball that often this season. And then at the end of the season, it kind of just, he wasn't able to turn it on like that when he needed to. So I don't know. They got microchips and Popeyes. Like, it's like hey man, I'm just saying it's more than one way. If the government want to do some shenanigans and get you up out of here or try to surveil you, it's way more obvious. I mean, not way more non-obvious ways to do it than through a vaccine. Like, let's be realistic about it. And the thing I always told people about the vaccine was like, they're like, yeah, they pushing this vaccine, I'm like, listen, bro, you know how much money those people are losing by you not being at the office right now? Like, they need you to go back to work, bro. This is a money thing more than it's like a societal control thing. They need money, bro. These buildings are empty, and they still empty right now. And people got rent to pay, bro. Like, nobody's outside. Like, they was trying to get people back outside. They don't care about what you're doing in your home life, bro. They got a phone that they know everything you're doing. Like. So, you know, it's always, I'm never going to shame anybody for their beliefs or anything like that. Well, that's not true. Depends on what your wild belief is, because there's some beliefs that are absolutely shameworthy. But yeah, man, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, get that vaccine if you can, bro. He swindled the league. Hey, man, as a person who's cooked in the lumbar region, I think they handled this poorly. Because, like, they kind of framed it as, like, oh, he just can't handle back pain. And, like, as a person who, man, I put this chair together this morning at, like, 4 in the morning. and like my back is like my lower to middle back is bad, but my upper back is like where the actual problems are. Like if you have like, it depends on where your back pain is. If you have like lower back inflammation a lot of the times, not only does your back hurt and it like it's hard to walk, like your legs stop working properly. So like I think especially with Steve Nash being a person who suffered from back problems for a very long time, they could have made this where they told everybody like it's not just back pain. Like he functionally can't play if his back is in the state that it's in right now. Because I know when my back is at its worst, like my legs are extremely heavy and I just can't move the same way. And it's not a pain thing. Like my body just won't do what it's supposed to do. But mine is more because I have tight hip flexors and stuff like that's causing the back pain. But like if they just functionally explain like, nah, it's not a pain tolerance thing, which they kind of said it was. It's like, it's not a pain tolerance thing. He functionally cannot play until his back is fixed. If they would have said that, it would have like, you know, so they kind of put him behind a ball in that respect. But him not being vocal and like out in front of everybody to let everybody know what the deal was also a problem. So like, I think when he gets back, they can be. I totally. Good thing you say something because I just broke down the Nets and Steve Nash and I totally forgot Mans was on the team for a second. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I totally forgot he was on the roster, but he fixes some of that defense of issues that they have, and he can bridge the gap playmaking wise and stuff like that. Hopefully somebody will tell him to shoot with his proper hand. I know Ben Simmons is shooting with the wrong hand because I used to shoot with the wrong hand. So I know he's shooting with the wrong hand 100% because the way he shoots, the way he misses. RJ Barrett is another person that I'm almost certain is shooting with the wrong hand. I think he said he's left-handed. I think he said he's right-handed on first take at some point. And like the thing about shooting with the wrong hand, the reason I shot with the wrong hand for years was because when I was younger, like I'm how do I explain this? I'm ambidextrous in a way that's not like through fine motor skills. So like if I'm doing something that requires like full body movement, like if I'm outside shoveling the snow or something like that, I'm doing it left-handed because my body feels more comfortable and I can generate more strength in a left-handed like alignment. I don't swing a baseball bat left-handed or anything like that. But like if I'm playing pool, if I'm doing anything that needs a full body movement, I'm doing it left-handed. And so when I was younger, I could get more strength if I shot like left-handed oriented. It was more of a two-hand shot, like I would shoot like this and like, you know what I'm saying? But I was able to shoot further. So I shot with my left hand until like 7th grade, and I was in basketball trials, and they like, bro, what hand are you? Because I'm cooking everybody in the post, but I'm missing jumpers. And they're like, bro, what hand are you? I'm like, I'm right-handed, but, you know, whatever. Hey, man, just shoot with your right hand. I started shooting my right hand, I was cooking. But I say all that to say, the kind of like elbow orientation and like the way Ben Simmons misses shots, he's right-handed, like as a shooter. Like fine motor skills, he's right-handed. So if we ever get there, I don't know, but like I just see that elbow, and that's how my elbow used to be. Like when I would shoot, I could shoot from distance accurately, but like when I would miss, boy, I would miss, and like it wouldn't even be close. And it's like you can't align like your elbow properly if you're shooting with the wrong hand, and your body kind of like resists that kind of shot. So it's more of a full body thing. So what he's doing is he's trying to fine tune the upper part of it, and that's just never gonna work probably. And then RJ Barrett, you see him when he's bricking. He needs all conditions to be perfect to be like a good shooter. I think Luke Kennard is also right-handed, and he kind of figured it out. Mike Conley, I suspect, is also right-handed, and they kind of figured it out. But you see, they got more push type. Like, they got a little more control over that kind of stuff. I don't know why I'm rambling about this stuff, but it's just interesting to me. We can also talk about people talking about left-handed players not using their right hand, which is also a thing that people attribute to fine motor skills when it's really a footwork thing. I was going to talk about it in the Julius Randle video a long time ago. Like, that brother uses his right hand all the time. He might not finish with it all the time. When he started figuring out he can jump off the same foot, and you know, but it's a lot of footwork things that people don't really realize. But long story short, Ben Simmons, I think he'll be fine if he get the back stuff ironed out, and I think he can help them a lot. Who's going to be the next Lakers coach? It's a lot of smoke right now. I don't know, to be completely honest with you. And, you know, people talk about Nick Nurse and the Lakers connection and stuff like that. My thing is, like, Nick Nurse be talking wild to his players, bro. Well, not to them. Well, I don't know if you talk to them wild, but, like, about them in the media and stuff. Like, that dude be tripping sometimes. And, like, I don't do a team full of veterans want that guy. I mean, they probably respect his basketball mind and stuff like that, but like he's he's a little strong. He's a strong personality, and like you got to wonder if a guy like LeBron would mesh with a guy like that. But like I think it would be a good AD as well. Because like say AD a little banged up and Nick Nurse in the media talking about we need that guy and all this other stuff, like he puts guys in a tough spot. He was talking about Stanley Johnson and Rondé Hollis Jefferson when they got to the team. Crazy that one year. I couldn't believe how he was talking about them dudes. But I don't know if they're gonna chase known commodities. Like I've seen some of the people on their list. I think Adrian Griffin is a good sign that they're kind of going to have a proper coaching search, because they had a good coaching search last time if you look at who was actually on the list, and they were supposed to get Ty Lue, but Rambis, like that's the problem. Like him and his wife got to go somewhere, bro. Thank you for your service, you know what I'm saying? We respect everything you have done, but man, y'all in here doing a little too much. But I think they're going to have good process whoever they hire, but it all comes down to what LeBron wants and stuff like that. Yeah, I agree with Jokic. I said Jokic. I agree with Jokic getting MVP. A lot of people like to say it's this math, it's math equation stuff like that, but nah, that dude's just a dog, bro. Like there's no other way to put it. If Jokic was on the Timberwolves might go to the finals. Like that's how much like of a dog that brother is. And you just look at the roster, you got Aaron Gordon as your second banana, bro. Like, Monte Morris was looking pretty good. I mean, he was good at Iowa State, stuff like that. But, like, you know what I'm saying? They had a lot of guys they had to depend on who you shouldn't have to depend on at that level. I'm not saying Morris is one of those guys. But a lot of that stuff was just, he got a silly roster, and he still had them. They like, oh, he's a sixth-place finish, man. They would have been the 13th seed if that was anybody else, not Jokic and Embiid on that team. So I think he deserved it, but I think Embiid also deserved, you know. So like it's not an either or thing as much as a personal preference thing. Either one of them could have won it. Either one of them should have won it, and he won it. So once again, I stayed in here way longer than I expected to. Whoa, come on, baby. There we go. I got some graham crackers that I need to get to with some cheesecake mix. You know what I'm saying? We about to have a little party. The reason I'm getting so excited about this right here now, but I tell you guys all the time about like my back issues and stuff like that. But I also have like crippling stomach issues that I've been trying to figure out for like two and a half years now. If you go back and look at my older videos, I weigh way more than I do now. Now I was intentionally losing weight, which is how I cooked my shoulders and my back. But like I lost like 100 pounds almost in like 3 years. But I intentionally lost like 60 of them because law school just had my body in the garbage, bro. I was just coming home, reading in my bed, eating, sleeping, wasn't working out, bro. I put on a good amount of weight. I lost a lot of it. Then when I got towards the end, I lost all this weight. And I was like, yeah, bro, I'm about to be able to eat what I want. You know what I'm saying? My stomach was like, you sure about that? It just started burning incessantly for like 8 months straight. So, like, we kind of get some things figured out. But, like, only certain things I'm allowed to eat that kind of bring me joy right now. One of those is this cheesecake and these graham crackers. Like, because I can't eat, like, a lot of vegetables. I can't eat a lot of grains. Like, just a lot of stuff I can't eat without my stomach, like, turning into a raging wildfire. And that's one of the things I can kind of eat and not have as much discomfort as other things, you know what I'm saying? So I'm about to get up in that. Eat apples. I can't eat fruit with skin on it, really, bro. Like, one thing I can, like, this, I have some kind of IBS or IBD. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. And so, like, a lot of the things that you think are good for you, that are supposed to be, like, high fiber things that are supposed to make your digestive system work, absolutely inflames my stuff. So, like, I can eat that kind of stuff. Like, I tried to eat like melons and stuff like that, and it just I can still eat like broccoli. I didn't think I was gonna be able to eat that, but a lot of the cruciferous type beets with like the spinaches and stuff like that give me problems. Apples, they tell you eat bananas, but that causes heartburn. Like, cause I had ulcers, I had all kind of stuff going on. I still got gastritis lingering, like just a lot of stuff that go on. You know what I'm saying? I don't complain or anything like that. I've had a lot of health things, but you know what I'm saying? We good. We rocking out. I do want to. I just want to when I figure out what's going on. I just want to eat some fruit, bro. I just want to eat some fruit. I was trying to eat like protein and stuff, but I could only eat like hummus. But then I found out that chickpeas was bad for me. Dude, I was going through it. Still going through it a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. Everything is still good this way. Uh, Other than that, y'all got anything else? I'll linger for like 2 more minutes. If you got anything else you want to ask, this glasses guy here. Oh, I need to turn this fan on, bro. I got this new chair that I fixed, and I didn't account for how it was a mesh chair, but the seat padding is like wild hot. I got these pajama pants on, and I'm in here stewing a little bit. But let's see. Oh man, I'm way behind on the stream. I'm just now drinking the water on the stream. Let me make sure I'm live. You know what I'm saying? Make sure everything is cool. All right, I think that's it. I see y'all with a more planned out stream. Now that I got this chair, I can actually start working in earnest on the stuff that I wanted to work on. So the D-Lo video is probably gonna come first. Yeah, I tried the sauerkraut. I tried all the fermented stuff. That they were like, yeah, try all this fermented stuff, and well, they didn't say it. The internet said that, and so it led me to this thing where like I didn't eat sauerkraut because it kind of gives me heartburn because it's pickled a little bit. So like stuff like that gives me heartburn. Like I didn't not try. So my thing was like, all right, it says cabbage is good for gastritis because this is back when I just thought I had gastritis, which was not the case. I have multiple things. And I'm just eating cabbage and it's just tearing me up. My stomach's just hot. I'm like, bro, they saying it's supposed to work and it just it wasn't working. I was going to try the sauerkraut. I just never got around to it. And once I figured out what I had, I realized the sauerkraut probably wouldn't be the best idea. Opinions on Willie Green's season, and that boy works some miracles, brother. Like, now I wasn't expecting them to be as bad as they were in the beginning of the season. But that turnaround that they had in the second half was nothing short of tremendous. I think he's the perfect mix of actual basketball accountability and know-how because he's played in the league before and people generally respect him. He was respected when he played. Like, you know what I'm saying? He played the guard position so he can kind of see the game and stuff like that. But the level of buy-in that his players seem to have, like, from him, like we saw him crying at the end of the game and stuff like that. And like a lot of coaches have troubles relating to players, and it's not even necessarily a relating thing. Like I think we see this with Monty Williams as well, where they just kind of like you can just tell that they believe in that dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's like 70% of the battle. Like we see, I don't know if y'all watching Winning Time, and we see like the struggles allegedly that Paul West had. Well, we know he had them. I don't know if they were that type of struggle. But like, and then you see Pat Riley on the sideline, and he kind of knows what everybody's going through and stuff like that, and they kind of respect him on a different level. We see that with Willie Green, but also the X's and O's are good, and well, they're better than a lot of former coaches, which is the point I was getting to. A lot of those guys don't have both, and we're seeing Steve Nash struggle with that right now. Even though I don't know why he wouldn't have the X's and O's. Not Steve Kerr, who was that? Derek Fisher. Like in New York had that problem, but that I don't know how much. Jeff Hornacek, I don't know if that was them trying to run the triangle though, but like a lot of times we see that coaches who used to play in the league had the cachet, but they don't have the actual X's and O's to go along with it to get their team over the hump. So it becomes a lot of rah-rah Byron Scott type of stuff. And I think he's the perfect mix of being that guy with that kind of gravitas, for lack of a better word, but he also gets respect for his actual coaching ability and stuff like that, as opposed to just like living on what he did in the league and just having people respect him in that way. I'm interested to see how Zion's going to fit into all of that because like they say this thing like on the court where it's like, oh, there's only one basketball to go around, and I think that saying is kind of misguided because like if you're talented enough, like, and you guys can kind of do everything on the court, then it's not going to be a problem in that way. I would say there's only so many spots on the floor, and that's where it becomes an issue. And so, like, when Zion is back, does Jonas fit on the team in the same way? Can Brandon get to the same places he needs to get to? And I think he'll figure out a way to kind of, like, make that balance work? Does Herb I'm so used to saying Herb. Does Herb Jones, does he want to have an uptick in his production as an offensive guy? You know what I'm saying? Because he came in here. You know what I'm saying? He might be wanting to get to that bag sooner rather than later. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure they're invested in his development offensively as well. So he has a lot of things that he has to go through, and like I'm interested to see how he handles all that stuff. uh, I got conned. They conned me into some more questions. I'll stay here for a little bit longer. Uh, I just saw the Donovan Mitchell thing about teams potentially being interested in him and stuff like that. Zion is gone from that team anyway. I mean, if I'm the Knicks, I know people want this this feel good Duke reunion with RJ and Zion, but if I'm the Knicks, I don't know if I want both of them on my team. And I want Zion on my team for sure, but I don't know if the RJ Zion fit is gonna go as well as ever. They still need a point guard above anything else. Zion can play some point forward and stuff like that. But like I was saying with RJ earlier about his shooting form and stuff like that, I think RJ gets a lot of I think people think RJ is better than he actually is at this point in his career because like I said, when there's shooting and stuff like that, he's not consistent enough to even be a spot up shooter for the most part. And then once he tries to be like an off the dribble shooter, like all of that stuff falls apart. I don't remember. I was looking it up at some point. He had only made like 5 off the dribble threes like all year, and then I looked them up, and like 3 of them was like late shot clock heaves and stuff like that. So I say that to say, if you want to be like a guy in this league and want to be like a number one option kind of guy, you gotta be able to like shoot and create off the dribble at a level that I don't think RJ has right now. Like he can get to the basket and stuff like that, but his handle isn't good enough to really get to places that he needs to like functionally. And when I say his handle's not good enough, like he can get to places on the floor, but he can't like maneuver in a way that a playmaker would necessarily. If he's going somewhere, he needs to be. He's driving to the basket more often than not. Like he can make certain passes on the court and things like that, but like he's not a threat to pull up and hit a mid-range jumper at this point in his career or anything like that. His touch around the rim is still a little questionable. And we have the whole what hand is he thing and stuff like that. So I think the fit with those two would be kind of wild. I think it would look exactly how the Julius RJ fit looks now. A lot of the stuff that people are ascribing to Julius is because he has to kind of make room for RJ as well. And they kind of play functionally the same position. I would say RJ is a 4 on offense functionally because of his skill set currently and like the things he's able to do. He's not, I don't think he's actually like a guard in that sense. And he doesn't shoot well enough to be a reliable small forward. Like in the spots that he needs to get to on the floor, he's more of a like a playmaking, not a playmaker. He's more of a dribbling 4 at this point in his development. Now, does he get better? I don't know, but like you see, like the games where Randall didn't play, like his splits were awful. Cause like Julius still, even though he didn't play well, he takes a lot of the attention away from him. So Zion would do that in the same way, but you would still have a lot of the same problems that you have if Zion was to go to that team. So, but if Zion goes there, then does it change the culture? Do people want to be the ones to throw lobs to Zion and stuff like that? Can they actually get a point guard that can kind of iron out some of the issues that you would have with a Zion, RJ, top 2, stuff like that? I like Quickly. I don't know if he's that guy necessarily to kind of bridge that gap in that way. Like he's still good. He's better than good actually, but from a pure point guard, I think he's more of a shooting guard functionally as well. Miles McBride, where they give him the leash to do some things that he needs to do. He's the only one I saw that can like actually snake a pick and roll and like hit a mid-range jumper, and he did it a couple times. Like Quickly gets in the paint, he does a lot of floaters and stuff like that, and that's why his he has a lot of high variance shots that he takes. That's why he's never shot above 40% from the line. I mean, from the field at any point in his career so far. Even though he's at any point, he's only been there 2 years, but he hasn't cracked the 40% mark yet. And a lot of that is high volume threes and the kind of shots he shoots in the paint and stuff like that. What kind of center would I pair with Zion? I don't think I don't think that's a question really. Like I think he can play with Jonas because Jonas kind of stretches the floor a little bit. He's not a world beater at it, but he doesn't need to be on the block all the time. I just think you need somebody because I don't see Zion jumper being anything to write home about anytime soon, if ever. Um, Unless he's been in the lab because he's been hurt, so maybe he's been in the lab getting that shot right. I don't know, but it's still way too slingshotty and stuff like that. But they got the best shooting coach in the game down there, so weirder things have happened. But if he stays the kind of guy he is, then you just need like a rim running guy who can kind of stay out the way. That would be sufficient. The actual fit is what kind of ball handler playmaker do you have next to him? Like, do you want a pure point guard type, or do you want somebody that can actually get his own buckets and things like that? Because even though, like, they made the playoffs this year, like, they had him and Brandon last year, and they still had their, like, struggles and stuff. And a lot of that was, like, defensively. You definitely need somebody to protect the rim, 100%. That's what you need above all else. It's the Julius Randle conundrum all over again. Ideally, you would want somebody that can both stretch the floor and protect the paint, but there's not a lot of those guys. So you want somebody that protects the paint for sure. So, like, a Mitchell Robinson kind of guy would be fine, but like I said, there's not a lot of those either. But like a guy of that nature that can protect the rim well enough and you know what I'm saying, get rebounds and stuff like that would be more than sufficient. But the real question is how much usage do you want next to a guy like Zion? And you kind of need a guy like, because you can't rely on him to be there because just how he is physically. He might not ever play consistent seasons where he's playing 82 games or anything like that. So you have to bridge the gap of, like, you need a guy that's able to carry when he's not there, but you also need a guy that's not going to be in his way on the offensive end of the ball. But Zion is good enough, like, where he can move off ball and stuff like that. I think he's more than capable of figuring that stuff out. Edwards Levine backcourt for the Wolves. Offensively, they would like. I've said everything that about those two in the videos that I made about them, but they both have the same issue, the same couple of issues. They don't draw enough fouls, and they're not good enough playmakers. And they're not good enough playmakers for like similar reasons, where they but they go about their offense a little differently, but it's kind of similar as well. So they're both guys who can shoot and get to the cup, but they don't draw a lot of contact when they get there. I think Levine is a better player than Ant at this point in their careers for sure. But neither one of them kind of bend the defense as a playmaker. They're both more drive-oriented playmakers at this point in their careers. And, like, that can work. I guess it can work. But, like, you're going to have a lot of the same problems that you're having now. Well, you're going to have probably more of the problems that people perceive them to have right now. Like, the offense is going offense and everything like that. But when it's buckets time, when it's time to make a play and get somebody the ball, like who out of those two, who can you rely on to like actually give Carl the ball in the spots he needs the ball, like consistently? Because I don't know if either one of them can do it consistently enough to where it wouldn't cause some kind of issue in the offense, the offensive hierarchy for lack of a better word. So Carl's not good enough at demanding the ball, and he's not good enough at actually getting in positions to get the ball, like to where it's an undeniable, like easy pass to make. You know what I mean? Like we see a lot of the entry passes that D'Lo throws, and they like lob like to the moon, like he has, and like wrap around bounce passes, like stuff that you kind of have to have a different level of playmaking to actually get him the ball in those situations. So, like I think they'll be okay, like together, but they'll still have the problem that they already have. And it'll probably be a worse problem at that rate. What would be the ideal fit next to Levine? I think the one they had in Chicago was fine as far as, well, not necessarily, because Ball and if Ball or Caruso was a better playmaker, that would be the guy. Like because Levine is extremely talented, and he's gonna get that offense. That offense is gonna be offensive, and like he can run your offense as a scorer for 20 minutes a game or so. You just need somebody that's able to actually like hit passes on the perimeter, throw skip passes and stuff like that. Stuff he just can't do consistently. Now, like I was watching the film and I'm like, okay, maybe they didn't marketing wasn't the shooter they thought, so maybe he wasn't getting the like but like Zach just doesn't make those kind of reads consistently. He can make pocket passes in the skip the pick and roll, and he can like make one pass away passes and like driving kick situations with some like opposite corner, opposite wing exploration from time to time. But that usually comes like after he jumps and is like surveying the defense. So he's not like a natural passer in that way, and Ant isn't either. And then the best kind of roll man for those guys, they don't have on the roster either. You know what I mean? So they would need somebody like only passes that Zach made consistently was like passing to the roller in pick and roll situations. And who is that on the Wolves roster? Like right now. You see what I'm saying? So like I don't know. Actually, Zach hunted that pass too much. Like I was a lot of turnovers. He's just throwing pocket passes to a window that closed like 3 seconds earlier. Like, and that's nothing against him. I still think he's a tremendous player. But like him and Ant fitting together as playmakers, I don't think would be um, optimal, for lack of a better word. Whatever, nothing is optimal in this world. So I think they would still absolutely terrorize teams on offense. But that's the offense fit. Then defensively, again, D'Lo covered up a lot of stuff just by being a connector. Like connectors are extremely valuable. I don't like that's Draymond's whole existence. Like, of course, he's the clamp man of the century, but he's also a connective piece on offense and defense that you just can't replace, really. Like, you're just not going to get that level of IQ and, like, execution anywhere. And, like, Zach isn't that kind of connector in that way. He's a singular talent that's probably, like that's more talented than, like, a D'Angelo Russell, like, offensively, even though he's nowhere near the playmaker D'Lo is. But, like, as a connective guy who can do like things that people don't notice that leads to winning, he's not on that level. And like, but see that guy, Zach's not that guy. Pat purports to be that guy, but he's not that guy either. Like defensively, maybe, offensively, definitely not. And like even on defense, he makes a lot of mistakes. Pat makes a lot of mistakes on defense. Like he covers it up by generally being a hound on ball and stuff like that. But he gets lost off ball as much as a lot of people do. And like he's very small and stuff like that, so they need somebody that can kind of do that. I don't know who that guy is, but like they'll I don't think they would get better necessarily if they got Levine. The long and short of it. Oh yeah, and when I get into this stuff, when I do the actual D'Lo video, like. This whole D'Lo isn't a good playmaking option, and he doesn't give Cat the ball. Like just in the preliminary stuff I was looking at, like D'Lo, Cat made like 7% of his shots in the paint when D'Lo was on the floor as opposed to when he wasn't. Like just stuff like that people don't realize. But we'll get into all of that about where he ranks like in the actual league as a playmaker, like in terms of usage and like assist percentage and stuff. Like he's on the list with the Garlands and the Lucas. He's on that list, like, and people just don't see it because like people don't notice playmaking in situations that aren't like drive and kick and find the open shooter and dump offs to bigs and like lobs and stuff like that. That's only one part of playmaking, which I like to call. I can't even tell you what I call it right now, but a lot of penetration-based playmaking, and people see that, and that's the most noticeable form of playmaking, and they think that's what all playmakers have to be like a good playmaker. And there's just levels and levels of passing and connectivity, like I talked about a few minutes ago, that D'Lo has that makes him a tremendous playmaker. And we'll get into all that stuff later. But yeah, I started streaming way long ago. Didn't mean to stream this long. Didn't mean to talk about as much as I talked about. I need to go watch the rest of these games. I just got a like on Twitter for something. I don't know what it was because I don't think I tweeted. Oh my God, that's a tweet. Somebody just liked the tweet. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but in like 2016, 2015, I don't know, it was a Thanksgiving tweet. Like everybody posting their turkeys or whatever, right? And so this one guy that posted a turkey, and like it was just like a little bit of salt, like on, for lack of a better word, the knee of the turkey. Like that was all the seasoning that was on it. And he was like, yeah, got this bird in the oven. And so everybody was just cooking this man's turkey. And I would post it every year. And then one year somebody was like, man, why you keep posting this turkey? And we started talking. And then the tweet I made was like, yeah, seasoning the turkey with soap and water, a holiday tradition like none other, or something like that. I tweeted that like 6 years ago, and the like I just got was on that tweet. Uh, I don't see a trade for the Wolves. D'Lo. I don't know, man. Like, but I hope the front office like understands the impact and like the feasibility of replacing everything that he does for that team, uh, financially and roster fit wise. Because like a defensive guy, a guy that's connective on defense like that probably isn't a great offensive fit most of the time. And like I'm not attributing all the Wolves' defensive success to D'Lo or anything like that, but like he was noticeably the guy who knew everything and where people needed to be. And like ideally you want like if there's another guy that's gonna be like that on the roster, it becomes Jaden or it becomes Vandal, but like it can't be Vandal. Vandal I love Vandal, but like he can't keep starting if they want to be like a serious contender. Like I mean he can, but like his fit next to if Cat was better at actual big man things, it wouldn't be as bad. But like he can't be the guy you're depending on to be the pick and roll guy. Because if D'Lo wasn't throwing him the ball, he probably wasn't catching it like 60% of the time. Like, and that's just a fact. But like he improved his free throw shooting and stuff like that. So there's a realm of possibility where he actually improves his hands and like is able to finish around the rim. I've never seen somebody get blocked and stripped at the rim more than Vandal. Like I don't know, it'd be so forceful. I'm like, did he get fouled? Like he be looking like he gets murdered, but like they be calling it clean, so he must be exposing the ball in a way that's easy to dislodge or whatever. But like defensively, you have the connectivity. The offensively, people just don't realize what D'Lo does for that team offensively, and we'll get into all that later. But you need to find two things like that. You need to find two guys that can replace that fit and also be a guy who can take over games when the other two aren't cooking, and a guy who's just generally like the adult on offense in the half court. Like that's a big ask, and I wonder if the Wolves front office looking at them numbers and looking at the actual like. I'm sure Finch will let them know like this is the guy that knows everything. Like you know what I mean. So we'll see. Oh, somebody talking about Jalen Williams. Oh, yes. Jalen Williams, my guy. I don't watch college basketball like I've said often. I don't watch, man. Somebody posted a pass on Twitter like 2 months ago where he was like, he threw like a bounce pass like from the free throw line, like to the, like he was on the left side of the free throw line. He threw like a low bounce pass to the right block. I'm like, let me go find out who this dude is. Then I bookmarked the tweet, and then like I started bookmarking all that stuff, and I forgot who it was. And then like 2 weeks ago, my homie Mike Garcia, draft man extraordinaire, go follow that man on Twitter if you want to know about some late second round steals or some late first round gems, or just who gonna be a good basketball player more than likely. Just go see what Mike is talking about. I think his name is Canyon Driver on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? He's a big into like cars, and like I think he works in I know he works in the automotive industry. I don't know he does. But anyway, he posted the Jalen Williams highlights, and I'm like, is this the dude that was on Twitter that made that crazy pass that I seen? So I just clicked on it immediately, like let me go find that pass, and then I seen it was him. I'm like, okay, let's get into this Jalen Williams film. Jalen Williams, my kind of player. Like I said, y'all know about me and that playmaking. You know what I'm saying? He got that in spades, and he got good size. I like the way his jumper look. I haven't gotten into his actual metrics or anything like that. This is just pure film at this point, and he's mocked way lower than I think he should be. If those mocks I've seen are correct, bro, like now I see where he might have some trouble doing some of that on the next level as far as like a ball handling and stuff, because he's not particularly quick. But like a lot of that stuff doesn't matter if you have the skills and the know-how to kind of do what you need to do. And I think he could be a connective tissue guy, like I said in the other video. Like if you need a wing that can kind of handle the ball and kind of like have some of that responsibility to take it off, and especially if you have D'Lo and free him up off ball, if D'Lo's not there, you still need a guy like that that's actually capable to handle the ball, because Jaden's probably not going to be that guy. His handle's still kind of too high, and he has moves where he can cook people like attacking closeout stuff, but a guy like at the top of the key kind of running stuff, not sure he can do that. Leah still was struggling with ball pressure at a certain point in the season, so we don't know how ready he's going to be next year. His jumper looks better though. He doesn't have as much hitch in it or anything like that. But anyway, Jalen Williams is kind of the ideal guy, like prototype of a guy that they would need on this roster. So if they can actually get him and like the actual like perceived lack of burst and stuff like that, and if the competition that he's playing against is not like an actual impediment, like he's not looking better against worse competition and stuff like that. I mean, they play Gonzaga and stuff like that, so like I'm not too concerned about that. But like if they can get that dude, I say, man, I'm a huge fan of Jalen Williams, and I haven't even seen a lot of his film yet. But like, yeah. Uh, oh yeah, $30 million D'Lo. I mean, like people have a weird like. I was making a joke with someone. I'm like, man, max contract player. When people talk about D'Lo, kind of trying to sound like a slur at this point. Like the way they would just say it is just so much vitriol. Like this guy's a max contract player, and like just like they're just harping on how much money he's making. Like, but like if Cat gets the super max, he's gonna be making $60 million a year. Like at some point, like. So, like the actual idea of how much money people are going to be making in the coming years is like I think people don't have a grasp on how people are going to be valued. So, D'Lo is nothing less than $25 million player at this point in his career, and this is I wouldn't say last year D'Lo probably 23, but D'Lo that's actually catching and shooting and stuff like that, and being the playmaker that he's been for his entire career. You're not finding no dude on that like the street for anything less than 25 at this juncture. Like people, if he was making 23 instead of 30, it wouldn't be a conversation. And like I don't know, people like to ascribe what they think people are gonna do to like their actual conversations about him. He said it was a contract year, but I'm sure like you can talk him in because I'm sure he's tired of losing. Now he has a child on the way. I don't know if y'all seen that. A couple of slews I know discerned that his girlfriend was pregnant like 3 months ago, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but of course, he wants to secure his financial future and things like that. But like, he's never indicated that he's gonna walk if he doesn't get like a max contract or anything like that. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. You don't know until you get to it. So whether or not you think he's a max player, he's probably not because he just doesn't. He well, he is and isn't. He could be and probably won't be. Is what I should say, because like he doesn't draw enough fouls and stuff like that. He doesn't do enough. He doesn't have enough game to game reliability as far as an offensive hub of an offense to where you'd be like, yeah, that's a $40 million dude right there. But also, how much is his max going to be realistically? And like if he could be a $30 million player if what the cap looks like and stuff like that, I wouldn't have any qualms paying him like that. But of course, a lot of people would, and I wouldn't blame them for having those kind of qualms. But like the idea that you're just going to get a guy like him for like $15 million to $20 million, I don't think that's realistic. Yeah, Kevin, you seeing the vision? You seeing it? Like even if D'Lo's not there, they need somebody that can roll to the rim. I said it in the video I talked about when I said don't panic, they're gonna make the playoffs. I said that in what was that, October? No, it had to be November. It was like mid-November. Um, because when you have a team, even teams that have a lot of guard penetration, like some of that can still get cut off. And one of the most consistent forms of actual quote unquote penetration, pressure on the rim, for lack of a better, well, not lack of a better word, sorry, I'm perfect, but pressure on the rim is highly important. And dribble drives aren't the only way you do that. Rolling is a big part of that. And like the vertical spacing that people provide, because like they have to be accounted for, even if they're not catching the ball, if they're not doing anything like that. Not many dunks this person is going to get if Cat is on the floor with them, like just by sheer spatial dynamics. Like, and then like I said, if you get that guy, it makes Ann a better playmaker. It makes D'Lo, he's already a top 10 playmaker in the league according to these metrics that I'm gonna tell you about. But if he gets a roller, like that, his assists can go up to 9, no problem. Like I don't see a universe where he couldn't get them if they get it like a competent roll man. Like he was averaging 7 in like having to pluck the Vandal tree for his roll possessions. And like sometimes when Nas is free and he can actually explode in space, like they can get just like a competent lob threat. Not only will it increase the playmaking, it will open up the middle of the floor for Ant years because he doesn't hunt it as much. But that net season when he could just get to the left elbow, I think he was the best shooter in the NBA from that spot on the floor for like a large majority of that season, if not the whole season. So like it just changes a lot of the offensive dynamics on his team if they just get somebody that can actually screen and roll. Forget even roll for a second. They need somebody that can actually set good screens. Love Cat, he doesn't set good screens, and it just is what it is. And not only can you screen on the ball, they need some off-ball screening and stuff like that because, like I said, they don't run enough of that stuff off ball. They only run it for Malik and stuff like that. D'Lo's one of the best screeners on the team, which is another thing that's just like wow. Like he's actually one of the best off-ball screeners on this team, if not the best. So like, you need some guys that are just willing to get physical and actually can do it properly without losing their mind and stuff like that. I think his girl is she's some kind of I don't want to say some kind of, but I think she's from somewhere in Europe. She's not from Canada. She's from one of those European countries, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. I got I got two sons out here with sons. You know what I'm saying? My basketball sons got sons. Well, I don't know if you have a son. What am I talking about? They got Shirins. Oh, let's see. Okay. Anything else? How do I feel about the hype around? How do I feel about the hype around Chet? I didn't see that. My bad, Brad. If this would populate better, I would see. Um, I think I see a lot of hype, but I also see a lot of trepidation. And of course, we have this thing where they're like, "Oh, this guy's how's he going to play in the league? He weighs like 7 pounds." Like, and I think there's something to that. As far as like if you want him to be the interior presence he's going to be, I think he'll be fine. Like functional people don't realize how much of strength is functional as opposed to how you look, and like, um, so like they just see this wiry guy and they're like, "Oh, this guy, he's not going to be able to hold up in the paint and stuff like that." And while some of that may be true, a lot of that stuff can be mitigated by just being a smart basketball player and a good basketball player. And I think Chet is that. So, like, okay, he might get pushed off on the boards, things like that. But if he gets in position early enough, like, it's going to be a fight to where he can, like, the possession to possession battles that people think happen don't really happen as much as people like to act like they do. So, like, just a general, like, play in the third quarter, like, and like a shot goes up and Chet is able to box somebody out quickly because he's in the right position and he's actually paying attention and stuff like that. You think that guy's gonna like fight tooth and nail to get that rebound from him? Like, and like getting there early on rotations and just being big and like being able to just disrupt people at the rim, like he can do all that stuff. Like, of course, like he's gonna have some issues with people finishing through his chest like that, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's gonna be as much of a problem as people think it's gonna be. Is he the number one prospect? I don't know, but I think if somebody gets him, he can be a good player for a long time. I don't see why not. Of course, like and like who's to say he just won't grow into his man body at some point, you know? But like just from a sheer knowing how to play basketball perspective and stuff, I'm a fan of people who know how to play basketball over like all of the physical attributes stuff like that. And he's still a freak of nature, regardless of all of the 3 pounds he weighs and stuff like that. So like, I think he'll be fine. I'm not sure he's. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched. Like I watch certain players, but I don't watch it enough. Like I haven't watched enough. Oh, who was it? Jabari Smith? Is that his name from Auburn? I haven't watched enough of his film to have an opinion on him either way. And just players like that. Like I still got to look at it. I haven't. I might start doing draft breakdowns on this channel. I don't know. But if I do, Jalen Williams is getting the first one ever made. Just know that. Just know he's the first shooty hoops film room of the college variety on this channel if it ever comes to that. Uh, let's see. 3 guard lineup. uh, I think Pat is the issue there, but he's the only one that they trust to defend. Like a lot of the reason that doesn't work is because the ball handler, the ball handling situation isn't ideal. Like, cause that's why if you go on the 3 guard lineup, that's why you want to do that. But like, the offensive fit isn't where it needs to be. Oh, he is from Minnesota. I didn't know that. Oh, don't Minnesota fans get they love them some Minnesota people. They was like, yeah, we about to get Jalen Suggs, even from Minnesota. And he came in the league. His jumper was looking crazy. I'm like, I like Jalen though, but I think he's a ways away from being something like. And people love ain't Tyus from Minnesota. Like, I love y'all Minnesota guys. I mean, I think if Finch is if him and if Pat and Finch have the relationship that they purport to have, well, not relationship, but like they have the level of trust and respect on one another, they have to have that conversation. The only thing with Jaden is like he can't stop fouling, like. But did Pat come off the bench at some point early in the season? I can't remember if he did or not. I think he did. So I don't think it's actually going to be a problem. But I don't know. But he can't he if they want to ascend to where they need to ascend to, Vandal probably can't start anymore. Well, if Pat or Vandal might have to be on the floor, but one of those two has to go to the bench, and it should be Pat in the actual order of things. So if we have like a D'Lo and Jaden Vandal Cat lineup, which is the lineup I always wanted them to play since Saunders was here, really, then like, you know what I'm saying, I think that would be better than what they have with Pat out there. And then Pat can come in and maybe he finishes games, maybe he doesn't. Well, yeah, maybe they slide him in when it's time to finish games, and Vando goes to the bench, and then Jaden plays those 4 minutes. Like, there's ways that this stuff can like be managed. But I don't. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think Pat's gonna have a problem with it. He made his money, so like that's my only thing is like he makes a lot of money, and do they justify bringing that much money off the bench? That's the only thing I was worried about. Do I think the Lakers can get out of this mess? I think a lot of it is just they weren't healthy again. Like, I know Russ has been god awful, like relatively speaking. um, but I think even if AD had been healthy, they would still been competitive enough, because I think the reason they got Russ was for AD. I think personally, because like I'm sure like people you see the things he could do with like he was in Washington with, like Alex Lynn and like other guys, and like his pace of playing stuff just gets people easy buckets, and I think they were trying to ramp up the pace of play for AD specifically to kind of like get him some easier shots and things like that. But AD wasn't there for a majority of the season, so like you got Russ out here just looking god awful. I mean, he's not. I don't like. I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want him being my point guard or anything of that nature. But like, he still has value as a basketball player. He's lost some athleticism, and his finishing is kind of suffering. I mean, he wasn't never really he wasn't really a consistent finisher for a while before that either. I mean, he would always be like a guy who just shot too many jumpers because he shoots on the way down, and he's just never going to change the way he shoots and stuff like that. But like, functionally, he could still be valuable. But like, I think there's ways to get off of his contract for sure. Like, people had this thing where they was like, oh, you're never going to be able to trade the Deng and Mozgov contracts, and then they traded Mozgov. Like, Mozgov got traded like 3 times after the Lakers signed him. There's always a team that's going to look for either some stuff like that, because the Lakers have picks to give. I don't know if they want to give them, because like that's their most valuable capital that they have. They draft well enough to they can't just be throwing away picks like that. But they also draft well enough that if they do throw away some picks and they get some lesser picks, they can turn those into more. So like, there's ways to get off the Russ contract if they want to. But the question is, how do they view that fit and stuff like that? Would y'all want Russ in Minnesota? I could go back to being a full-time Lakers fan watching those D'Lo games. I don't know. But like, there's ways like they can have trade variations. Like maybe send them to Indiana. I don't know if they're tanking or not. Like, there's ways that you can get off of Russ if you want to get off of him. And I think there's ways that him and AD can fit together still. And LeBron as well. LeBron started doing some more off-ball, like being an off-ball shooter and stuff like that. A lot of his threes were like created more so than like ever before. I think LeBron wants to get off the ball at some point. If we start seeing um, screen and roll like LeBron, they had games where he was looking like 2012 Anton Jameson out there. If he's used more as like a small ball center and stuff like that, him and Russ can still play together. Also, if they start using Russ as a roller more, but he kind of lost some of his athleticism, so like it didn't work as well as it probably should have. Like there's configurations in which you can still make that kind of work. They need to get talent around them. The team around them was just way too old, and Vogel was just way too stubborn to kind of do what needed to be done, which was more Reeves and Monk's minutes, especially more Reeves minutes. Reeves should have played every game. He should have played at least 25 minutes a game. Philadelphia system, I don't know what's going on in that game right now. But, like, you have to think, because, like, Reeves in college was a guy who was on ball and had to make a lot of decisions, stuff like that. And so, when you bring a guy like that to another level, like, of competition, and he's not going to be that guy anymore, all of that experience he got in college, or, like, you know what I'm saying, in Maxi's case, as a ball handler in offense for Philly last year, like you don't lose. Like you got to think about everybody on the court, right? So when you become an off-ball guy, you become a connector in that way because you know where people are supposed to be. You know where you're supposed to be. You know what time cuts would be most effective for your playmakers and stuff like that. And like that's just how you can kind of like generate stuff. And Reeves was a connector in that way on offense, where he can make passes and he can attack closeouts and make good passes and stuff like that, and just like run the offense for a little bit if he needs to. Like, you need guys like that on your roster, and Vogel just wasn't using him for whatever reason, and he just was so stubborn with, like, playing DeAndre Jordan a whole bunch of minutes. So a lot of the stuff they had was, like, of course, Russ was bad, and, like, we're not going to deny any of that, but they had a lot of self-inflicted things from Vogel being stubborn and the roster not fitting the way Vogel wants to play, because Vogel still is a elite defensive mind. He can make defensive adjustments and things like that, but he just was refusing to like put a lineup out on the floor that can actually generate consistent offense and like stuff like that. All right, how long have I been streaming? Let me see how long I've been streaming because it seems much longer than I intended. Let's see. 77 minutes. What time is it? It's 10 o'clock. I'll stay for a couple more minutes if y'all got any more questions. Shout out to y'all for being in this chat so long. Let everybody know how interesting I am off the cuff, you know what I'm saying? So we can get some more people up in here. So I can justify actually streaming. My stomach. No, I don't have stomach pain. Oh yeah, see, I was telling y'all about like my stomach issues and stuff like that. You see these right here? Look, we peeled up out here, bro. I tried to not show y'all my address, but yeah, we peeled up out here. This is omeprazole. I gotta take it just because you know what I'm saying. The stomach acid be going crazy. I gotta take this. They was like, hey, bro. Oh, that's what happened, right? So I'm going through all this stuff. This is gonna get kind of graphic. So if you don't want to hear about like bowel moves stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and make your exit. But like, I have a lot of inflammation in my stomach and stuff like that, and we're trying to figure out what it is. And like, I've had scopes, colonoscopies, all that stuff, and MRIs and stuff like that, and they can't really find anything. So it's probably IBS or something like that. But they had me get an X-ray. They was like, man, go get an X-ray just so we can look at your insides. They looked at my X-ray. They like, bro, you got so much boo-boo in your system. You got so much dookie in your system, brother. And they think that what is happening is like my bowels don't work good enough to like expel all that stuff, and it's kind of causing leftover inflammation and stuff like that because I just have a lot of things going on. Because apparently my colon is very long for whatever reason. I don't know. This is a TMI situation, but y'all about to get these bars. So anyway, I gotta take this every day. Miralax, help me clear that out. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of things I gotta do to just be a functional human being out here. But we still out here winning. We still out here rising. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going through something, you know what I'm saying, ain't nothing you cannot get through. That's a lie. But you know what I'm saying? Most things, most things are mere annoyances as opposed to life-altering things. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here cooked in various ways, but you know what I'm saying? We still out here doing what we need to do. Who win in the East? I still think the Bucks gonna win. I think. But no, the Celtics, Al Horford, bro, that dude is a winner. Like, we've always known this, that he's been a winner, but like He been winning since he like in college. They was running back titles and stuff like that. That dude just been winning. Those Atlanta teams don't work nearly as well without him being on there playing out of position. Well, out of position. He wanted to be a 4 very badly, but he's so obviously a 5 that it doesn't matter. But that dude just be out here winning, bro. Like he won them that game yesterday. But he turned in the 8th grade amph in the 4th quarter. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a hooper back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And he was just out there getting it done. So if he continues to play the way he's playing, like it's a little more murky of a question, but I still think because I don't trust the Heat I don't trust the Heat offensively. People love Jimmy Butler. I don't think his bag is enough most of the time. And if Kyle is really hurt like that, and like Bam, people want to say that Bam makes all these offensive improvements and stuff like that. I love the guy. He's still pretty much the same guy offensively that he's been for about 2 years now. Like the clips they show us like face-up jumpers in the mirror. I'm like, that's cool, bro. You need dynamic offensive improvement if you want to convince me that he still has those limitations. He would be a perfect fit on the Wolves, but we're not talking about the Wolves. Jimmy Butler's not consistent enough offensively from a shooting standpoint to for me to believe in them. Kyle being hurt is a big thing for them. Duncan Robinson actually got some minutes tonight, so that might change some things. But I don't think that when it comes down to it, I think the Bucks will be able to execute better if they meet in the next round. But I think Spo gonna be ready for whatever happens. So crazier things have happened. But if Middleton is back, that's the caveat. If Middleton is back, I still think they come out the East. All right, brothers. I was gonna say sisters, but my metrics say that ladies don't watch this channel. If they do, you know what I'm saying, shout out to y'all. But I think I'm about to end that here. Appreciate y'all rocking with me for this unintended 30-hour stream. And we'll start doing this when we can. Hopefully more often. We get some more people in here. I'll be in here more often for sure. This chair is nice and comfortable. I can sit in it for a long time. I don't feel particularly cooked. So, you know what I'm saying? We're ready to go. Dealer video should be coming, if not late this week, next week. Wagner video coming sometime after that. I might see y'all on stream before either of those things happen, though. But, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all. I see y'all. When I see y'all, hopefully this ends when I press it. We gotta make this announcement every time. But we about to end the stream.